Hey everybody, this is Chris here with Daily Motor, and today we've got the infotainment tour and demo on the 2022 Cadillac CT4 and its 8-inch touchscreen Cadillac Experience infotainment system, as well as a brief look into this digital gauge cluster. Before we get started with all that, let's hop out and take a look at the car. And here it is, the 2022 Cadillac CT4 V Blackwing, one of our favorite cars this year so far. Infotainment-wise, should be pretty much the same as just a regular Cadillac CT4. The only thing that'll be a little bit different on this car is the gauge cluster, and we'll go through that very briefly, but we'll mainly be looking just at the 8-inch Cadillac Experience touchscreen here in this CT4. If you want to learn more about the CT4 Blackwing, make sure to check the links in the description for all of our other videos featuring this car. Let's go ahead and hop in and take a look at some of the tech here in the Cadillac CT4. I always really enjoy GM infotainments because they're always so simple and honest. There's nothing ever that's super complex in these systems, and usually between Chevrolet, GMC, and Cadillac, Buick, all of the GM brands, the system is usually pretty cohesive and pretty similar to everything else in the lineup. But before we get into that, let's take a look at this cluster. The main differences are going to be when you use this little mode button behind our shifter here to switch what drive mode you want to go in. Right now I'm in tour mode. That is the most relaxed display. Big center mounted speedo and just kind of a gold and white theme. If you go up one to my mode, it switches you to a sportier display. Central rev counter, and also if you're in gear, it'll show you what gear you're in there in the middle. We've also got temperatures and pressures over here on the left, and over here on the right in every mode you can switch what you want to have over here on the right hand side. V performance, whatever. I usually just leave it in trip computer. It's the most simple thing to look at. You've got snow and ice mode, which should be similar to tour. It'll just mess with your traction control settings. We've got track mode. You can hear the exhaust just got a little bit louder, and we have a horizontal rev counter. As you can see, the left and right hand side displays stay pretty much the same as they do for my mode and sport mode here. So a few different design layouts for our gauge cluster. And if you want to mess with your different options over here, you can go all the way to the right and you can go to display theme and you can mess with what you want things to look like. So if you're in, V mode, which is this little button over here on the left hand side, you can switch what you want it to look like and so on. But pretty well put together gauge cluster display here in the Cadillac CT4 V Blackwing. You can also switch what you want to have as far as stats go over here in this menu. So pretty cool stuff. Okay, let's take a look here at the 8-inch infotainment system. Like I said, a pretty simple, straightforward display that we see in many other GM vehicles. As our home screen here, which you can achieve either by swiping once to the left on your main app screen or just by pressing the home button here, which is a physical button down here on this plastic panel. It'll take you to your media source. It'll say what phone is paired, so you can see my phone is paired, as well as give you a navigation screen here on the right-hand side. As far as permanent things go here, we have another home button down here in the bottom left, and we've got quick access to our media, our phone, navigation, and a climate control menu. Get back home there just by pressing the home button. Multiple ways to get to everything here in this infotainment system. Swipe once to the right takes you to your first page of apps, audio, phone, navigation, hotspot, users, settings, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto if you have it plugged in. One more to the right, we have another page of apps. And one last here for audiobooks, one last app on that last page. But let's go through and take a look here at our audio tab. You can go through all of our different...
Sirius XM. It's all you'll ever need to hear everything you want.
Okay, so we don't have Sirius set up right now. You can see we have all of our different sources here if you press on there. Let's take a look here at FM. You can see also down here at the bottom we have a tune knob, which is something that Charlie appreciates very much. Easy to go ahead and go through our different stations here, but if you don't want to use the knobs, you're able to use the little icons here on the touchscreen to go one at a time. So cool that you've got a bunch of different options. You also have a sound tab here to adjust your different levels. I always like when they put this on the radio menu. It makes that just nice, quick, and easy to access. You don't have to back out and go to settings, so that is pretty nice. So there is our media screen. You can see here all of your different sources. I already showed you that. Go ahead and go back home here. We can take a look at our phone menu, which takes you to Apple CarPlay because I've got my phone connected to CarPlay. Navigation menu here, also quite straightforward. It is in day mode, but I like that one click on the navigation menu takes you to not only your map right away, but also a quick access to type in where you want to go.
Before we go on, please say address, place of interest, intersection, or contact.
Place of interest.
Before we go on, please say address, place of interest, intersection, or contact.
Place of interest.
I didn't hear you say anything. Before we go on, please say address, okay. Speech session canceled.
Yeah, okay, so it's having a little bit of trouble there. So we'll go ahead and manually put in where we want to go. And you can see it'll give me the few nearest Starbucks here on our first screen. Kind of weird that it wasn't understanding my voice prompt there, but whatever. Otherwise, just a pretty nice map display here. And it should, let's see if we switch the lights on, if it'll go into dark mode. It will not. We should be able to manually put it into dark mode in here. There you go. There's dark mode on our map. A little bit easier on the eyes, and you're able to do that. Either have it in auto mode, so it'll go to dark when it detects that it is dark outside, or you can manually put it in like I just did. Let's go ahead and go back home and move on to our settings tab. This will be the most in-depth menu on this whole car, but I'll let you guys take a look here at all of our different settings. We have app settings in here. You can toggle on and off Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. Got navigation settings. We just looked at that. This is just another way to get in. Toggle on and off your rear seat reminder here, which, funny enough, I usually do like to leave that on because sometimes when I travel with my camera gear, I'll throw it in the back seat, and this reminds me to get my camera stuff out of the car. Drive mode customization you can do in here. You can mess with your driver aids and turn those on and off in this settings menu. You can mess with your lighting. You can turn on a teen driver mode. That's always been a GM thing. Valet mode as well exists in the settings menu. Over here on the right, we have just a number of other different apps that go along with the Wi-Fi. We've got our apps screen here, which probably won't be anything right now because we aren't really logged into anything, but these are all different apps that you can download onto your infotainment system. We've got our OnStar tab. You can dial OnStar. Performance data recorder. This is going to be unique to the V Blackwing models. Basically what this does is if you are out on the track, it will record your laps and you're able to watch them back off of an SD card that is popped in right here to the left of the steering wheel. Pretty cool option there. Climate menu, if you don't want to use your physical climate control for some reason, you're able to use that on the infotainment as well. That always kind of baffles me why you also get a climate control menu on the infotainment when you have a full physical climate control panel, but you know, whatever. Sirius XM, which is not activated for some reason. We've got Amazon Alexa and Spotify, which obviously if you own this car, you'll be logged into things like this. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look here into Apple CarPlay and see what that looks like here on this Cadillac infotainment screen. So no wide view on this car, just 4 apps across, 2 apps down. Pretty attractive display of CarPlay, and it does take up the whole screen, and it does react quite quickly. Let's take a look here into Spotify. Okay, pretty good. Not bad. Google Maps. Pretty nice and quick reaction here for Google Maps. and Waze. Overall, I've had no issues this week with CarPlay on the Cadillac CT4. It's all been a pretty smooth experience. Home button here to get you back to Cadillac, and very easy back and forth motion here with phone projection. Okay, let's go ahead and plug in our Android phone and see what that looks like here on our Cadillac screen. All right, here we go with Android Auto. I'm gonna go ahead and continue here. All right, and a full screen view here for Android Auto. Resolution is good and it reacts quickly as well. Go into some apps here, no items. Okay. This is an inactive Android phone, so all we can really do with Android Auto is kind of see how it looks, how it reacts with things. See, home button, and also you can actually exit with the Cadillac icon here on the screen, or you can use your home button, but that'll in this situation take you back to the home back and forth there. And that's just about gonna wrap it up here for this video. Overall thoughts on this system, honestly, I have no issues. The only thing I will say that's been kind of annoying is this cluster buzzes, and it actually isn't buzzing right now, but sometimes you'll be driving and the screen will be buzzing. But sometimes you get this really irritating buzz here with the cluster screen. Otherwise, though, I've had no real issues this week with this car, and well, I'm really sad to see it go. But that will wrap it up for us today. This has been Chris here with Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.